unfortunately, there are bad people all over the world. And it just so happens that when they are Muslim, it is highlighted in the media. So people think it is always Muslims.
It's the other way around.
Oh my God.
It's so much the other way around because there's so much Islamic terrorism right now happening around the world that you guys don't even hear about it anymore. How many you guys?
They're not allowed to report it.
No, but it has been turned too boring. Like people are like, hey, what happened to Islamic terrorism? Has it stopped? Like everybody feeling like, hey, wait, we haven't heard about Islamic terrorism recently. Has it stopped? No, it hasn't stopped. It's still going on. Guys, just recently, 50 people were beheaded by ISIS just last week. 50 people were beheaded. Did you hear that in the news? Hey, live chat. Did anybody? Hold on. Did you guys hear about this? I mean, you guys might have because we reported it on Atheist Republic. Hold on, look at this. How many people heard about this? Yes.
So when I was
5 days ago,
I used to get angry at any media that would highlight stuff like this all the time. They're like, see, they're just like nitpicking from around the world just to show and to incite violence against Muslims. So like that's that whole mentality. Like the press is like, purposefully highlighting these things around the world, just Islamic stuff, just to make people hate Muslims. So that was the mindset.
Okay, but here's the thing: like this obviously gets posted on BBC, but does it get that much coverage? You know why it doesn't get coverage? Because it's constantly happening. Like Islamic terrorism, guys, just because it's not happening as much in Europe or in North America, that doesn't mean it's stopped. Islamic terrorism is happening all the time in Afghanistan, in a lot of countries in Africa, in Syria, in Yemen. It's ongoing. It's ongoing all the time.
Yep.
And it doesn't get much coverage because it's ongoing.
I don't think that's the reason.
Why
I think it's because the press is getting pressured to not highlight this stuff as much.
No, I don't think so. No, look, they get coverage. They mostly go by the clicks. This stuff doesn't get like that much clicks, so they will just post about it and then they will stop, right? How many people like it's just I mean, imagine if this happened in Europe, right? Then it would get like a lot of coverage.
For sure.
So it's not that it's Islam that is being highlighted by media. It's because people don't care about Africans.
Yeah.
You know, like if Islamic terror attacks happen in Europe or North America, then it will get a lot of attention. So it's not the Islam element that is like being ignored. I mean, I do agree that it's bigotry, right? Because people seem not to care about Africans. So there is some bigotry going on here. I mean, if this happened in New Zealand, people are like, oh, Armin, no, it's not bigotry. It's far away. That's why. Really? I'm pretty sure if it happened in New Zealand or Australia, it will get a lot of attention, even though it's farther away from Europe than Africa, right? So it is some bigotry going on here, right? But again, it's not because Islam is not getting any attention. It's not because Islam is getting more attention. It's not, okay? It's not getting attention. In fact, the media, so I'll tell you what, Deborah, you're right on this. The media is very careful around how they talk about this, right? Like, I mean, look at this. Okay, so it's not as bad. So both sides are getting this wrong, right? So the people who are Islam apologists, they say like, oh my God, every time they say Islam, okay? And it's not actually like that. The media tries to be very, very careful if it's not because of, to not like, they don't want to be called out as bigots, right? So the media is very careful most media is very careful about this, right? Yeah. But the anti-Islam people, they say like, oh, the media doesn't point out that it has anything to do with Islam. They're also wrong. So they're both the Muslim pro-Islam side and the anti-Islam side, they're both wrong. What is actually happening, for example, here, again, this is not all, but over here, and it again depends on the media, is that they're trying to play this game at not blaming Islam, but also not denying that this has to do something with Islam, right? This is how clever, this is how genius this word Islamist is, okay? So my point was that news organizations like BBC, they have to be very, very careful, right? They have to act like they have to not tie it directly to Islam, okay? Because then they would be accused like, oh my God, BBC, you're saying this is, but you don't understand. But like BBC and CNN and other news organizations, they don't want to be involved in making theological. I mean, let's be fair to them, okay? Don't be like, oh my God, BBC are so biased. I mean, really, do you think like a news organization, they want to be involved in making do you want to report the news? Do you want them to go over scripture and actually discuss whether or not this is true Islam or not Islam? I mean, come on, like that's too much of an expectation for an organization like BBC, right? So like we can't be like, this is Islam. We don't want to get involved in that, but we can't also deny that this has anything to do with Islam. So what do? We invent a new word. We invent, like, say, militant Muslims. Militant is like Islamists. Islamism is like, what is Islamism? Islamism is political Islam. Like, you mean Islam? No, political Islam, Islamism. Like, there's no such thing as political Islam. All of Islam is political Islam. But they're pretending like it's a separate thing. They created this word called Islamists and pretending like it's a separate thing so that they could that they could not deny that this has something to do with Islam without claiming that this is true Islam.
Yeah,
it's Islamism.
Yeah, they have to say that so that they can report it, because everybody says, this isn't Islam. This is not Islam. Yeah.
So this is a perfect place that they have found. They're like, we're just staying here. Are we saying it's Islam? No, we're saying it's Islamism. Are we saying this has nothing to do with Islam? No, we're not saying that, because we're saying Islamism. So like, yeah, we're just gonna stay. You guys could fight. We'll just stay over here.
Yeah,
I think
it's a safe word.
It's a safe. Yeah, exactly.
But so that's now what they're going after, political Islam. Like you're seeing that European countries are now starting to actually go after political Islam.
I'm going to do a live stream on that, actually. Yes.
It's a good thing, because I hope that trends out my way.
But political Islam is not a real thing. Islam
well, Hizb ut-Tahrir is literally political Islam, so they could possibly get banned, which is hopeful for me.
Right. But that's just Islam. Right.
That's just one group, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's literally Islam. Islam is political.
It's 100%.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, if Islam, guys, it's very simple, okay? If Islam could be summarized into one phrase, is following the words and actions of the Prophet, okay? For us, it's easier to summarize, right? Why? Because we think both the Quran and the Hadith are the saying of the Prophet, technically, because there is no Allah, right? So if following the actions and saying of the Prophet, that's Islam, if that's just a one-phrase summary of Islam, then Muhammad established the government and ruled. I mean, that makes Islam political. That's it. That's as easy as you could get, okay?
There are bad people all over the world.
No, do we?
That Muslims are terrorists. Now, this is, of course, not true. It is true that Islam is...
Wait, you lost? Okay, never mind.
...a religion of peace. Now, unfortunately, there are bad people all over the world. And it just so happens that when they are Muslim, it is highlighted in the media, so people think it is always Muslims. It's interesting.
God damn it! You know how much other stuff gets highlighted more? Okay, think about this, right? You saw this, right? Oh, here's an example, right? Here's a beautiful example, right? This, okay? And let me show you something else. How many people died in Christchurch? How many people?
I forget. Good question.
How many people got... if we're going by anecdotes, right? Which is what she does. How many guys? Do you know how many people? Okay, Deborah, can you mute your microphone when there's background, please? 49. 49? Is it 49? Okay, 49. So she's saying when it's Muslims doing it, it gets highlighted, okay? Was it a Muslim who did the Christchurch shooting? Was it a Muslim? Guys, remind me. Was it a Muslim that did the Christchurch shooting? Was it a Muslim? No. No. It was not a Muslim. Right? How much attention that got? How much media coverage that got? Was it not? No, what are you guys saying? You're saying yes. No, it wasn't. No, it was not a Muslim. That's my entire point. No, it was not. It was a white Australian. That's what the truth seekers say. Okay? Again, guys, I'm not trying to. Of course not. Yeah, there we go. Okay? How much attention did that get? Again, when you make general statements like this woman is making, it's so easy to disprove you, okay? If you use words like mostly, sometimes, often, many times, right? But if you just make general statements like that, all I have to do is compare the Christchurch shooting, the amount of media coverage that the Christchurch shooting got, to this. This was militant Islamists. They killed around the same number of people. And it got close to 0% of the attention. I know it got some attention because here it's on the media, like the BBC covered it, right? But compared to the Christchurch shooting, how many people know about the Christchurch shooting? A lot of people. How many people know about this one? Very little people. Even most of you, like we covered it at the Atheist Republic, and even most of you didn't know about it. Deborah, be careful when you're touching your mic. It makes a lot of noise.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just letting you know. So prove. Let me see. Actually, did she say many? Maybe she said the word correctly.
Unfortunately, there are bad people all over the world. And it just so happens that when they are Muslim, it is highlighted in the media. So people think it is always Muslim.
See? She didn't say many times, most of the times. No, she's like always. She used the word, if it's Muslims, it gets highlighted and people think it's always Muslim, okay? When you make such general, absolute statements like that, it's just so easy to tear apart everything you're saying. I don't even have to like strawman you because your arguments are worse than the most, like, I can't come up with a more pathetic strawman. Like, I don't even have to create a strawman when your arguments are this weak. Right?
Yeah.
It's interesting when other deaths occur anywhere else around the world. Do they point out their religion? No, they do not.
If it's because of their religion, they do. Okay, God damn it. If a Christian terrorist does their terrorism because of Christianity, their religions will get mentioned a lot, okay? I could tell you, the Christchurch shooter, the people who are anti-Christians, they were like going through his manifesto trying to find some relationship between what he did and Christianity, and they couldn't. He was just like a far-right bigot, okay? They couldn't, but if they could tie what he did to Christianity, some ex-Christians and some anti-Christians, they would have used that forever and ever. They would remind you about that constantly. Do you know how many anti-Christians would have loved to be able to find something in that guy's manifesto that had anything to do with Christianity? You think the guy's religion would have not been mentioned if what he did was not somehow related to Christianity? Do you seriously, how naive do you have to be to think that if a terrorist had if their terrorism had anything to do with their Christianity, if they mentioned their Christianity and they told you that this is why we're doing it, if we're doing it for Jesus, in Jesus' name, or for our church, or for protecting Christianity, anything like that, how naive do you have to be to think that the entire world would not be constantly speaking about that, especially a world that is trying to dismiss Islamic terrorism? They would have like yelled at with speakerphones everywhere, in our ears. Every time there's an Islamic terror attack, they would use that, like, oh, look, we have a Christian terror attack. They would have loved for that guy to mention something about Christianity. How naive do you have to be to think like, okay, this lady is a moron, okay? Do you think like if there's if there's, this is what I tell, okay, if there is like a bank robbery, okay, and the people who did the bank robbery just happen to be Muslim, but they didn't do the bank robbery in the name of Allah, or shouted Allahu Akbar on the glory of Islam or anything like that, or defending the name of the Prophet, do you think we would be calling it an Islamic bank robbery? No. Do you think if a Muslim killed somebody else and it had nothing to do with Islam, if a Muslim killed somebody else and it had nothing to do with Islam, they had just like a personal dispute or something, do you think that would be considered a terrorist attack?
No.
No, nobody would call that an Islamic terrorist attack. It's only called an Islamic terrorist attack because it's the intention was for Islam. So the reason why other people's religions are not mentioned when there's terrorist attack, because they call it far right. They call it a far right terror attack. If they happen to be Christian, if it wasn't for Christianity, they're not going to call it a Christian terror attack. It's that simple. You're just a moron. I'm sorry. Deborah, do you want to add anything?
No, I totally get it. All they do is bring up the Crusades when they want to talk about Christian terror. That's all they got.
I keep telling people that, Deborah, you're both an ex-Christian and you're an ex-Muslim at the same time, okay? Not that many people have like both of those badges, okay? You have like yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you have like done all that.
I was born into one, and then I put myself in the other.
I don't know if you know, but a lot of ex-Christians are jealous of us ex-Muslims. Do you know that?
Because we have way more to bitch about?
Yes, because they're like, oh, I wish Christianity was more mean to us when we were Christians, so we could, like, these ex-Muslims, they're like stealing all the highlight. They're like, guys, I think Christianity would also behead us if we were ex-Christians, if they could. They just don't have the power. Oh yeah, I think the Republicans, if they were in power, they would also execute gay people. Yeah, I think so. Please, guys, like, we're the why did these ex-Muslims ruining everything for us? Okay, so a lot of ex-Christians are kind of ex-Christian atheists are butthurt over the fact that ex-Muslims get to complain more often, right? So they're just waiting for Christians to do some terror attack so that they could talk about it forever and ever and ever and ever, right? Because they're just waiting for it. And for that reason alone, when eventually, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like, when was the last Christian terror attack? Was it like a abortion clinic, right? It was an abortion clinic, right?
Probably.
And they still... Yeah, they're still talking about that, right? So they can't wait for the next one to happen so that they could be like, hey, guys, we also have terrorists. Please, we also have terrorists. We're the victims.
Aren't like KKK supposed to be like considered Christian? Don't people associate that with Christianity?
They try to, because they want to claim some,
I know as a Muslim, I desperately try to connect that one.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah. Okay. I know they do. Christian cults have so much shit as well, though. Terror attacks are not the only thing to bitch about. I know, but they think like Katie, are you?
It's just like call them a different lane, though.
Yeah, we call their bullcrap here all the time at Atheist Republic. Do you think here at Atheist Republic we're dismissing the BS that comes out from Christian cults? No, we don't. Okay, but I'm just telling you, and there's a lot of people around the world that are suffering immensely from Christianity. Okay, so that's true, but again, that doesn't mean that a lot of ex-Christians don't feel like they've been left behind, okay? So just because they feel like they've been left behind, they're waiting for somebody to do something and do some killing in the name of Christianity so that they could go out and be like, oh, we have terrorists too. And for that reason alone, trust me, when somebody finally does something in the name of Jesus, okay, they're gonna be like throwing that in our faces all the time. So don't worry, lady, if you want people's religions to be mentioned, when a Christian does something crazy, you're going to get that. I promise you, you're going to get that. In fact, we're going to do that for you when that happens, okay? Right now, most Christians who actually end up doing terrorist attack, they're doing that for like racist or far-right bigot stuff. They're actually not doing it for Christianity.
I don't know, the media have got something against Islam. My opinion is that the media just needs us to remain in fear. It needs us to remain in fear, to listen to what the government is saying. And right now, Islam is the best way to keep people scared. And so that's what they're focusing on.